Hey everybody, welcome back to We Are Podcast.
This is I Hate Being Sober, Season 1, Episode 16, A Conversation with Jen PK.
If this is your first time checking out the podcast network, please head over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, or iTunes, and give We Are Podcast Network a like. And if you get a chance, head over to our social media. All links can be found in the description. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at /We Are Podcast. And with that said, on to the podcast.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to
I Hate Being Sober!
And now our host, Doug!
Hey everybody, welcome to I Hate Being Sober, a podcast about personal stories from epic people. And today, I have one of the most epic peoples I've ever met in my life. Author, actress, comedian, playwright, teacher, mother, everything across the board, Jen PK. Jen, how are you doing today?
I'm good. You're making me sound way better.
No, this is awesome. We're not 100% sure what we're going to talk about, so we're going to kind of just meander about different things about you and what's going on in your life and where you're at. And especially, I think we're going to focus on comedian too, because that's how we met, through Dean Lewis's comedy class over the last couple weeks. I've had a blast. You've been in the class too. I hope you've had fun.
It was an experience for sure.
And we're going to be doing a showcase on Wednesday night. So we're going up in front of an audience, just starting there. As a comedian, you've been a comedian for a while, correct?
Sort of. Kind of off and on. I just call myself that.
But you've done comedy on stage before, right?
Yeah, I have. I was more active like 10 years ago than I have been now. Now I'm just like I don't know, as of the last few years, I'm just like your local funny person at your job.
What made you kind of step away from it at that time, 10 years ago?
It was just a lot of going out, and my kids were younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt bad because I was already working like multiple jobs. I'm a single mom. So it was just like I was already like working multiple jobs and being away from them a lot. And then going out, I hate driving to Dallas in the first place, but going out, multiple times a week and not being there.
So you kind of stepped away to take care of the kids. And how many jobs were you working?
It would depend. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh my.
It would just depend on the time and what they were paying me.
How did you find time to do all this other stuff? The playwright, the author, the actress, like what's going on with all this?
Acting is kind of sporadic. Writing for me in general is just kind of sporadic. I wrote a play. I've written 2 full-length plays, so it's not I've written a whole bunch, but I've written 2 full-length plays, one of which is called A Big Girl's Guide to Love, and I wrote that like 10 years ago. And when I met my best friend, she was already just like a super prolific actress and just like an amazing person and director and stuff. And she was starting her own theater company. And I was kind of like her personal assistant when I first met her. Like she was more my mentor than my friend at the time. So she put my show in her first season of her theater opening. And so that just, caught people's interest and stuff like that. So it took me probably a year to write that. And then just attempting to turn it into a book took me like 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not even sure if it's because I have to be super interested in something at the time to like fool with it. Like, I don't know what that is. My process is probably really bad. I have to be super interested. I get bored real fast, even in my own things, and I start moving on to a different story. And I'm like, I should go back to that. I should do something with that. But
sounds like ADHD to me. Have you ever been diagnosed?
No, but you'd have to go have insurance.
That's true.
I self-diagnosed. I have a degree in psychology, my master's in psychology, and my I'm currently in a program to get another master's in marriage and family therapy and licensed counseling. So people ask me why, and I'm just like, probably because I need therapy. I don't know. This is one way to go about it.
You're taking classes at the same time as you're doing all this other stuff then. Being a mother, being an author, being a playwright. Like you said, you're kind of all over the place. But how do you take classes on top of that?
Well, they're online, so that's helpful.
Yeah.
The hardest part is just like deciding to focus to do it, I think, which is usually right before it's due. So
let's talk about A Big Girl's Guide to Love. What is this all about? This is a book. This is a play. I saw on your YouTube channel, there was a live reading at it at one point. What's going on with this?
Yeah, it's a play I wrote like 10 years ago. It's just like about a woman. She's successful in all regions of her life other than her love life. And she super wasn't that worried about it, but her friends were more worried about it than she was. And then one of her close friends was getting married. It's kind of classic tale. One of her friends is getting married, and then they're like, we got to find you somebody. Like, you have to come to somebody with a date. And then, so it's just like, going through those motions of trying to find somebody and trying to deal with yourself. And there are these little guidance points that are the guide. Because when I first wrote it, there weren't the rules per se. Like, that was just the working title. Like, I don't know. I just wrote it. And then when my best friend decided she was going to put it up, she was like, you should write some rules. And I was like, okay. So then I wrote, came up with a rule for each different scene to lead it into there or whatever. And they became the rules.
That's really cool to do it that way. What are the rules? Like, these are the rules that are set up for the character that is the main character. Is that correct?
Yeah, they go to each scene. They're just generalized rules that people could use. Like, because I've had guys tell me, like, that they have felt the character, that the play spoke to them. So it's not just for women necessarily, even though the main character is a woman. And it kind of focuses about her in the play. I'm really bad at explaining things.
No, you explained it well. I'm really interested. You've actually seen this play on stage then? You said that your friend actually set it up so that it was performed. Is that correct?
Yeah, she did the full length thing. It was great. She did a fantastic job. And then last year, 2020, a theater that I did a play, we did Neil Simon's The Odd Couple, the female version, and I was in that play, and they had a playwriting contest. And so I sent that in. And so then they did like a staged reading of A Big Girl's Guide to Love. So I got to see it again, and that was fun. And then the pandemic hit or whatever, and it's everybody's like shut down or whatever. And I have a ton of friends who are actors and comedians and comedian/actors. And I was like, you know what, just for fun, let's do a stage reading on the Zoom. And I don't know, like, organizing stuff stresses me out, but I did it anyway.
Right. So
we did that, and that was fun. So it's on like YouTube and Instagram if people want to watch it. It's got some really, really good actors. A lot of people know like Tyson Pfeiffer. He's a comedian, and he does a lot of acting and stuff.
Have you ever considered taking it to a screenplay and making it into a film?
Yeah, I've had 3 directors ask me if they could do it. When I wrote it, I actually wrote it in the form of a screenplay because I didn't know how to write. I was trying to write a book, and I was struggling with making dialogue. So I thought to myself, let me write a script, because a script is basically all dialogue. So then I Googled or whatever, how to write a script. And so I just used that format to write. And then when I presented it to Sharon, who's my best friend, she was like, girl, it's really good, but it's a movie. it's not a play. So then she helped me learn how to like format it to look like a play. But she still made it on stage look kind of like a movie. It was very interesting how I wish I had. It's somewhere in the archives of DVA Productions, which is her company. Somewhere in the archives is the video, of course. Theater companies, we don't let all the stuff just fly out in the atmosphere for everybody to see. But it was really amazing how she did it. She directed it. It was great. I got to stage manage, so I was behind the scenes most of the time. I think I got to watch it just like a little bit.
How did that feel to be able to see your words that came from you, these moments, this inspiration, everything that came from inside, to be up there in front of you with performers and everything? What did that feel like?
It was amazing. Anytime somebody like remembers it, it feels good, because I'm like, wow, okay, cool, I did something. As a stage manager, you're like super stickler on the words, and you're like, that's not what she wrote. So as funny as going through it, I'd be like, did I write that?
Well, the wonderful thing is you get to take credit for it too. So if somebody says something that's wonderful or beautiful or profound or just funny, you wrote that because you're native. So that's
like, she got the gist of it. There you go. Because like, if you do a Neil Simon play or a Neil Simon movie, you have to get it exactly right, verbatim. They were literally, I learned this while I was in the play. They send people, not to every play, but it's possible that they will send somebody from whoever runs his estate to come watch the play and make sure that you are saying those words verbatim. So that was really scary to me when I was acting. I was like, can I just say something? What if you say something that sounds like it? Like, no, it had to be exactly right.
How about the book? How's the book going? Have you published it yet, or self-publishing, or have you finished it?
I thought about self-publishing. I really don't know what I want to do with it yet. I don't know if I want to add to it, because it's the way I feel like the story's done. But I think to be like traditionally published, I'd have to like expand it, and I haven't figured out how I want to expand it. I just wrote it out, and it's more like novella size. I've had a couple of people edit it, and and say, yeah, you should go ahead and put it out there. But I haven't decided if I want to go that route. Self-publishing and traditional publishing are like, vastly different.
Is it so personal that you're afraid to put it out there, or you just feel like it's not finished?
It's like a baby. It's like my baby. It's like I feel like I could put anything else out and not care at all. But like I just really want it to be right. So maybe it'll be that thing I do when I'm 80. Maybe somebody will come run away with it.
And is the main character, is that you, or is it like a character version of you, or is it somebody completely different?
It's actually, I wrote it for Sharon, who's now my best friend. I wrote it for her. So there's a lot of her-isms. It's not exactly her, but there's a lot of her-isms. There's a little sprinkling of me, but like mostly her. One of her best friends, my best friend's best friend passed away some years ago. And that character is based on what I gleaned from her, because I only got to hang out with her so many times. And then the other best friend character is more like me, but probably more like me 10 years ago when I was joyful. I don't know. She's like happy and idealistic. But yeah, so there's little pieces of me, but the main character is like mostly based on Sharon, actually, in a lot of ways. Did
you give the best friend character all the best lines, though?
I think not the character that's based on me. Her name's Jeannie, not her, but I like some of the lines from the other best friend, whose name is Sandra, in the play. I like some of her lines the best. She says like, men are like M&Ms, or something like that. And that's sad. I can't even remember what I wrote, but I know it's something to do with M&Ms. I'd have to look it up.
But it's a perspective that needs to be heard and seen, I think. I can't wait to watch the video. I'm going to watch it later on. It's the entire play that's on YouTube?
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
Okay.
They did it all out.
What I'll do is I'll link it in the description of the podcast also, so people can go check it out. Were you planning on doing a podcast adjacent to it? Because I saw there's some other videos, or was everything just surrounding kind of the play?
I'm always thinking about doing a podcast, but I never do it because A, it seems like a lot of work, and B, I'm like, who cares what the hell I have to talk about? That's what I'm always thinking. Because like when I look at like YouTubers, I'm like, why am I watching this?
But you're watching it.
I am. I was like, some of them I know why I watch it, but then like some of them, like I am doing nothing but wasting time right now.
Well, my belief is we all begin somewhere, and like I'm 250 podcasts in. No one listens. It's no big deal. But I'm going to keep doing it because I enjoy it. And you are like me. You're a talker, and you're very good at it. And you say funny stuff, and you laugh at yourself like I do. Your personality. It would be wonderful to hear your voice and your perspective on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis, whatever you want to do. I think you should totally do it because you can have on guests and talk about cool stuff and just be entertaining and do whatever you want to do. I think it would be amazing to hear you do that.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you crack me up. Like I told you, here's the thing about Jim PK. Everyone needs to know. And people think this is an insult. It's not. She is a comedian's comedian. She says funny shit that the audience might not hear or understand because you're an intelligent comedian. And it's the moments that you are self-deprecating or you say something funny in the interim that cracks me up. And I absolutely love it. And I think that that's what makes you unique and interesting, along with your perspective, you know? Like during the classes, you were killing me. I don't know if you noticed that. You were making me laugh harder than anyone else. So
yeah, another beer over there.
No. I don't do that.
I just literally just talk. That's what's so sad. It's like I'm always just like, I'm just gonna hold this microphone, I'm gonna talk. Because when I go up there with like a purpose, I'm like, these are some things that I wrote. I always jack it up. So I'm like, I'm not gonna do that anymore. So sometimes I just sit there and talk. And if you don't want to hear it, well, just wait till the light goes on.
Well, you're genuine. That's what matters. And you're personable and you tell stories. The story you tell in your stand-up, I'm going to ruin it a little bit. You talk about going up a flight of stairs with a guy. Is that a true story?
Mm-hmm.
It is. And you're running out of breath and you're like, come on. Come on.
It's like, he wasn't even cute enough for all that work. Honestly. I was like, good Lord. I was like, why am I doing this? I really need to stop. That's why I don't date. I haven't dated in like 4 or 5 years. So I was like, I gotta get my life together so I can get what I want. Because what I want is not these people. Because every time I lower my standards, every time I lower my standards, it's just not good. People are like, you're so superficial. And I'm like, I sure as fuck I'm very superficial. If you don't look like you belong on Instagram or you have, the money to be kicking it with, Beyonce or something, then we can't talk.
Well, is that part of like your 5 to 10 year goal to find a man, or are you going to focus on all this other stuff and do that? What are you thinking?
I mean, Henry Cavill is a girlfriend now, so
yeah. Oh, you don't want to go with him. He's got weird fantasies. I don't know if you saw that.
No, that's Armie Hammer.
Oh, that was Armie Hammer. You're right. I always confuse.
That's Armie Hammer. Henry Cavill is Superman. Yeah. Armie Hammer is the one who's got some issues.
He does got some issues. He
was pretty hot up until that point, and I was like, I mean, no offense, but he's a white dude and he's got a lot of money, so he's into weird stuff. And in my experience, all white dudes are into weird shit. So if you're gonna get with a white guy, just you got to do some stuff that you probably never even thought of before. And if you like him enough, I guess you'll try it.
At least
not tell
once,
anybody about it, but
no.
you might try
it. You should use that. That's really good. That's hilarious. All right, let's talk about acting. Are you acting right now in anything?
No, I've done a few auditions just for funsies, just to kind of see what it was like. I took an acting class and it's called TSAW. It's Tasha Smith's online acting workshops. Tasha Smith, if you Google her, you'll be like, oh, I know who that is. She's a fantastic actress. She's amazing. But I took an acting class with her. I made my best friend do it, but we acted like we didn't know each other. We were in the class together. It was interesting. The teacher was Larry B. Scott, who, if you Google him, you'd be like, I've seen that dude before. I'd be seeing him everywhere now. It's like, oh yeah, he was on Seinfeld. That's actually why I signed up for his class, because I knew he was on Seinfeld, which is my favorite show. And then I saw him on an episode of Martin, and I was like, oh my God, that's him. I could just recognize his voice. So if you Google him, you'd be like, I know who that is. But that's mostly what I did. And then I've done some auditions that I probably won't get, and that's fine. I'm not worried about it.
Well, yeah, auditioning is hard. There's no doubt about that. And you get your hopes up and then they get smashed, and then it's a process.
I try to go into those like I go into everything. It's like no expectations. I'm just like, I've already decided. This is just for fun. Because that makes it easier. It makes it less scary. You're like, fuck it, who cares?
Well, it sounds like you're in a really good state of flow then, where you're just like, you know what? I'm living life to the fullest. I'm going to do this thing I like. I'm going to do that thing I like. Like you told me earlier, you're working on a million different things at any given time. So it sounds like you're in a pretty good place.
I don't know about that. I'm glad I project that to people. I don't know about all that though. Probably not. It's probably not what I'm supposed to be doing. It's doing everything. Someone was like, what do you do? And I'm like, everything and nothing.
Yeah, but at least you're working on stuff. That's what it's all about. You're putting stuff together. And that's what I kind of said about the ADHD. Maybe, you're pulling down the balloons and looking at different things. That's why I always describe it.
That's a problem. But my resume says I'm a good multitasker.
Oh, yeah. I read it off earlier. Boom. Like you're all over the place doing cool stuff. I was going to ask, comedy. How did you come upon that? Why did you want to start doing comedy?
It's probably part of the acting bug. I always liked comedy. I like to laugh. I enjoy people that can make me laugh. I don't like everybody's comedy, but I enjoy it in general. And I was like, it was semi a bucket list thing just to try it. I guess it was like 10 years ago. It was like 2009, 2010, 2011, somewhere in there. I was newly single, so I got divorced, and I was just like, I'm going to start doing some stuff for me. And, I always wanted to be like famous when I was a kid. So I was like, I'm going to go to try this open mic. I'm just going to go. And it was the Arlington Hyenas, which was my favorite place that I've ever gone on stage so far. But I went just to watch, just to be there and see what happens. And then everybody was super nice. And they were just like, you should go up. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I was like, I don't have anything. That's not what I came here for. I just came here to see what y'all do. So I don't think I'd ever been to live comedy before. I hadn't really done anything. So I was like, I just want to see what y'all do. And everyone's like, you should go. And then, I did. And I went up there, and I think the first thing I said was something about bringing my purse up there because I didn't know or trust any of these people. And Black women don't put our purse on the floor or something like that. And the whole thing, you get like 3 minutes. And I did the 3 minutes. And in that moment, I killed it. And I guarantee you, if I hadn't, you would not know me right now. Like, I wouldn't have never did it again, which, could be beginner's luck, or it could be that I'm amazing. So I would go out, and at the time there weren't that many female comedians or Black female comedians like around in the area at the time. There weren't that many. So I was an anomaly, and I would go out every week, and then Arlington Hyenas closed, and I was like, dang, because that was closer to my house, and I hate Dallas, but I would go to Dallas. Then it was just like Dallas Hyenas would be the only place that I would go, really. Now there's 50 million of them open mics, and I don't go to any of those. I should.
You should. You definitely should come out. You should.
But there's germs out there, so I have even more of an excuse. And there's so many comedians. Like, when I did it before, like, there were a lot of us, but there weren't a lot of us. But the second time I tried to go out, like, after some years, there was like 100 more people. I was like, who the hell are these people, and why are they not funny? Like, I was just like, like, all the people that I come up with, that I dealt with, like, years before, like Thomas Nichols, Tone Bell, and Brian Perry is still out there. And people just like off the top of my head, Seth Cowles, he's still out there. He's still over here somewhere. But it's like most of those people kind of moved on to, like, they went to California. Justin Foster, Nick Guerra, all those people, they're just like, they're gone.
Right.
They're gone now, and then it's just like a new crop of people. They moved on from open mic, because once you get to a certain point, a lot of people don't go to open mics anymore.
Right.
Like, I've asked some people that I used to, go out with, like Charity, Latrice, and they'd be like, we don't really do open mics anymore. We just do shows.
Yeah, I think there's a certain point where you know who you are on stage, and you've been on stage before, so you're probably comfortable. You probably don't need it.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, I do like talking. I will not sing on stage, which my last audition people will tell you. I do not. I can sing, but I will not sing in front of people. I will not sing in front of people on purpose. Why? I don't know. I get very, very nervous about it. It's like my one thing. Like, my whole body will shake and I will cry. I can't do it. I don't know what it is. So I can get up and talk and bullshit for whatever, but like, I can't. Don't ask me to sing. If I sing, it's gonna be on accident, or it's gonna be like singing words.
On our show on Wednesday, I'm gonna scream out, "Sing, sing!"
You're gonna get cussed out. And I can never do the Addison Improv because I didn't cuss somebody out, like, up there. Like, and I can't do it. I won't even do karaoke. Like, I can't do that shit.
I was about to say, karaoke is a stand-up's best friend, because it allows you to overcome a lot of the stage fright and get out of your comfort zone. A lot of comedians do karaoke for that reason. Mm-hmm. I'm with you, though. I can't sing unless I'm fake singing or having fun with it, like I'm playing a character. But if it was just duck singing, I get very nervous and I get very self-conscious. Whereas going on stage, I like being me on stage. I've only went up a couple times, and I find it very comforting. The most comforting thing is the bright lights. Like, that really helps. But I find that it's fun. What brings you back to doing it? What brought you back around after, almost 10 years, like you said, to wanting to do it again?
I'm just trying to figure out what I'm good at. It's like, I'm old now. And so I'm just like, I keep doing these jobs, but I hate working. But I have to. I was like, what am I good at? And I just kind of gravitate towards performance, because something I always wanted to do, like, my whole life since I was little, was to perform something, so I was just like, let's go try this. Let's go see how this works. Let me go try it again. But I kind of cheat around it because I keep taking these classes. I'm just like, maybe somebody will just invite me and I'll go on their stage, because I just don't.
Well, there's politics to it too. I think you kind of said that already. You're kind of part of the Dallas Fort Worth old guard, where you knew all the people coming up, a while ago. And now you got to get to know all these new people and be able to get on the list, and et cetera, et cetera. But I think you would be able to do it very quickly. And I think after Wednesday night, you're going to catch the bug again and be out there. I really do.
It's a weird group of people now. And it's weird when you go to open mic, because you know that those people, because I've seen a lot of people that do a lot of shows. And then I've gone to, just a handful of open mics or whatever in the recent years and was not impressed. But they're working. I'm just like, maybe it's just not for me. Maybe, what they're talking about is not, my thing, but that's okay. Whatever they're doing. or the fact that most of the time that's when people go try stuff out.
Mhm.
So maybe they know that shit ain't funny. And then they take it and fix it. And then it's better when they go do it for some other group of people. I don't know. But that can be hard too, because I kind of feed off of other people. I feed off the energy when the energy is like, because
Yeah.
that's the thing about open mics, especially when you're new, which is what I am now, is like new to it. You're at the bottom again,
Right.
which, I've already done the, talking to chairs at 2:00 in the morning. But at least I had like a couple people that I was friends with, like at least one person was sitting there. Because like I was the one person that was sitting there for them. Like I would laugh at everybody's shit. I would try my hardest, unless you were just like real. I couldn't muster up a laugh. I would laugh at at least one thing you said, because I think it gives you confidence. Like they say you're not supposed to like live for the laughs and just do it because blah, blah, blah. But it's kind of, like energy boosting. Like if at least one person goes, or giggles or something, give me something. Because if I'm just sitting here, just like, fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's when you get those ones that just like, when the comedian gets mad and he walks off. And
that can be entertaining too. Whenever somebody bombs tremendously, and you're just like, oh, wow, that was horrible.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, it's just Duck jumping in here real quick to say thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. If you're enjoying it, head over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, or iTunes, and give We Are Podcast Network a like. And if you get a chance, head over to our social media. All links can be found in the description. You can find us at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at /We Are Podcast. And with that, back to the podcast.
It sounds to me you have a lot of support in your life, though. Like you said, your best friend. It sounds like you're a supportive person. Would that be correct?
I try to be. I'm pretty much the person that will share all your things all the time. Even if I don't go to it, even if I don't like it sometimes, I'll share it because it's yours. And like, that's the least thing you can do is click share, or tag somebody or share it to somebody who might like it. Or I need somebody to produce my podcast, and you just type, this guy does it. Ducky does it. It's like, okay, cool. There's certain people that, I know, and that's what they do. And I always would recommend them.
I want to talk about two more things. First of all, you have a bucket list you brought up. What else is on the bucket list to do eventually?
I want to move out of Texas because I hate it. I always have.
Were you born and raised here?
Yes.
Okay. I can see that then.
I hate it so much, and it just keeps getting worse. Some people are just like die hard. I would move out of this whole country, but I definitely want to move out. I want to see other countries for sure.
Yeah.
I like other stuff. I don't know. I want to give my kids everything. Even if they're 40, even when I make it. I don't know. I haven't really written down the bucket list. Or did I? I did write a 30 things to do before 30, but I haven't written one since, and I'm already past 30.
Well, at least you had a list.
Didn't do any of that.
I'm with you. I'm 36, and I think you're probably younger than me, but I'm 36.
That's so special. I'm 39.
You're how old?
I am 39.
Well, we're around the same age, but we're starting stuff that we actually want to do at this point. You know what I mean? And it's a very exciting time. And I worry about that all the time. I wonder if I'm too old, or if, my voice will not be heard, or people are not interested. At the end of the day, I'm just going to be me, and hopefully the people who enjoy it find it. And also raise up other voices. Anyone who wants to talk and has a perspective that is enlightening or awesome or cool, or, the tagline to this is personal stories from epic people. That's just what it is. I want to talk to people that are interesting and have stuff to share and a perspective. I think that's very important.
It's really cool.
You brought up, here's the big one. I want to read your tweet about your kids. And you have 2 sons, is that right?
Uh-huh.
My sons are just really good people, just honestly amazing people. If they weren't mine and I met them, I would definitely want to be their friend. That is beautiful. That is wonderful.
Oh, my baby.
Yeah. Let's talk about the babies.
I love them the most. They're my favorite people.
So how old are they?
17 and 19.
Oh, wow. So they're kind of a little bit grown.
Yeah, they're old.
So what was it like being a mother for them throughout all of it?
I mean, it's never easy just being a mom, and then at some point when you're kind of doing it by yourself, like I'm not completely unsupported. Like my parents are there, both like my mom and my stepdad, and my dad and my stepmom and my sister. So I have people, but like I'm their only actual like parent. So But I don't know, they're just really cool. Like you're not supposed to be, I've always been taught you're not supposed to be like friends with your kids, but like I am. Like I like my kids. Like they might not think I'm their friend. I don't know. Maybe they do. But they're my friends. I'd rather hang out with them than most people. I'm just like, they're cool. Like I molded them in the way
Right.
I want them to be. They're not exactly like me at all. They each have like, vastly different personalities than I do, but we have stuff enough in common so I can hang out with one all night, or I can hang out with the other one all night. I have shows I watch with each of them, not necessarily together. I try to stay really close in communication with them so they know like they can talk to me about whatever, and that I'm always going to be there all the time. And they're just cool. They're just cool people. Like I wish I knew them in high school. I probably would have had a way better experience. My oldest one is like, they're both super smart, let's say, but my oldest one is like super smart on purpose, super into math. He loves math, which, God, if I had him, I wouldn't have had to take geometry like 3 times. And he knows a lot of different languages, and he's just super curious. And my other son he's super smart, but he's like cool. Like he's just like the coolest person I've ever met. And I'm just like, I want to be like you when I
Oh wow.
when I grow up. But when I wrote that on Facebook, it was like I had come home from that audition where I had to sing, and I knew I wasn't gonna like it.
Oh,
and
no.
I was just like crying, and my son was just like, it's okay, it was just an experience. It's just an experience.
Oh.
You don't sing every day. Like you sing at the house, but like you don't sing in front of people all the time. So why would you think that you have to be great at singing in front of people or be ready to sing in front of people? If you did it all the time, you get used to it, but you don't. So if you choose to do that, then you'll just get better at it, but it was an experience. It was an experience, and you're fine. You're fine now. I'm just like, I'm supposed to be doing this.
But you raised him right, so he was able to take care of you like you took care of him, and that's beautiful,
He's so good. I love them so much. Whoever they end up with is going to be like super lucky.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to like them.
I was going to say, are you going to be one of those mothers that's like, I can't stand her?
I hope not. I want to like the person. Mm-hmm. I want to like the person very much, but I'm still going to be looking at them sideways.
Yeah. Well, that's protective. That's mama bear. You got to do that. 100%.
Like, are you good enough? I don't know. So why did you get into comedy?
Why did I get into comedy?
Yeah.
Because I was bullied when I was a kid. And when I was bullied when I was a kid, I found that if I could make people laugh before they hit me, it was a much better route. And eventually that turned into, I just enjoyed making people laugh. And so it's one of those things. And you said yourself, high school sounded like it wasn't very fun.
I mean, it never is it? I don't care.
There's people
popular
out there.
Girl and I don't know. I wouldn't want to go back to do what?
No, you couldn't pay me $1 million to go back to do it. I have PTSD from high school. I seriously do. It was that
That's
bad.
crazy.
And I'm medicated and everything.
Kids are really mean, though. Girls are super mean, from what I understand. Oh, yeah. I kind of always stick to myself. So, I mean, I'm sure, because people are like, I've been a teacher, and they'll ask you questions in workshops, like, have you ever been picked on? I'm like, probably. Has anybody ever called you names? I'm like, quite sure. I'm like, I don't know. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, of course it gets to you. Like, I started shaving my legs when I was in 6th grade because a boy asked me why I didn't, and I didn't even like him. Like, he had a girlfriend and he had a big head. I mean, he wasn't even for me. My boyfriend was Johnson Taylor Thomas, and he was on TV. So I was like, my leg hairs were blonde and insignificant, and I was like a tomboy who liked to watch hockey and baseball, and I wasn't even worried about real people. Like, I'm not worried about real people in life, like guys that are in real life right now. The only ones I like are on TV. So it's the same when I was a kid. But for some reason I was like, why don't I shave my legs? And that's when I started shaving my legs, which, boo on him. But it's weird how people can affect you. I always tell people that's how I got making people laugh is how I get out of people wanting to beat me up, probably, because I talk a lot of shit. But if I talk I can talk a lot of shit, but if I make you laugh, then you're just like confused. That's what I used to tell my kids. I was like, you go to school, okay? Make people laugh, and you can talk all the shit you want, and they won't know if it's a joke or you're for real or anything. And then they'll be confused, and they'll just move on.
Sometimes that brutal honesty, when it's said in a way that's funny, can actually be cathartic to the people you're saying it to. And it can actually make things better for them because they're like, oh shit, I got to think about that. But it was said in a funny way. You know what I mean? And sometimes when you're charismatic, such as yourself, you can have a way of saying things that people just take it. You know what I mean? They're just like, that person's too smart. They're too charismatic. They're too interesting. They're whatever it is. And you get away with it. It's a blast. I've said some stuff to people. My brother turned to me and he goes, how the fuck did you get away with that? And I was just like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't know how to fight for shit. I'm just like, I'm gonna have to murder you or something. I don't know how to fight. Like, I'm just gonna have to run you over with my car. I'm just like, and I can't run at this point in my life. So,
how did you become a teacher?
Accident. Honestly, I never wanted to be a teacher, like ever. Like, if you ask anybody, my mom's a teacher for like 30 years. My stepdad's a teacher. Everybody like in my family was either like a teacher, something medical, maybe something lost in there. I just want to be on TV. I don't want to do any of that stuff. But like when the pandemic thing happened, I was working at a theater, and it's not like I was making great money because theater, you don't make money when you're in theater. So theater, I was working at a theater as the box office manager, and it was cool. And I've been there for 3.5 years. That was like a long time for me. I don't really believe you should stay anywhere for a long period of time. I had a coworker at a synagogue that I worked at, and she had cancer. And she told me one thing. She was like, never work anywhere more than 3 years because you're giving too much of your life to somebody else. And I got to that 3.5 years. I was like, I've been here too long. Like, it's not a horrible place. Like, that's where I've done most of my auditions is where I work. And I was just like, God, it's not a horrible place, but I'm not doing any fucking thing. I was like, it's easy. I can't go up in this job at all. There's no way to go up. Like, I'm at the point, this is it. Like, I'm already a manager. Like, the only other job is to run the whole place, and that's not gonna happen. It's like, artistic directors just don't bounce. Executive people, they don't. Not in theater. There's no elevation in there, which is fine, but that's not who I want to be. So I was just like, I got to start looking for something else to do. And then the pandemic happened, and then theater's kind of iffy in that point because you can't have shows, and what are we going to do? And so I started to worry that I was going to lose my job. And I used to say that when I got my bachelor's degree, I would get my teacher certificate for just in cases. And so I kept getting those stupid emails from places that I looked at. And so I finally decided, like, I was going to do it. And so then I did it. I did it last year. COVID did not make it easy. It was trash. No offense to the children. They did what they could do. But it was not the greatest experience, which I knew it wouldn't be. That Alice in Wonderland, I give myself very good advice, but I very seldom follow it. That's like my theme song. Because I knew I wasn't something I was about. I don't always feel like I'm a good teacher because I'll be like, why don't you know this? But I was just teaching art, which wasn't really my thing. Like, I'm not a visual artist. It's not really my thing. Like, I can draw and stuff.
But you're definitely an artist, though.
But to be like an art teacher, you gotta know how to do all kind of stuff, clay and technique. I don't know all that. So I was just kind of winging it, and it was good since elementary school. But this year, I'm teaching GED classes, so that's why I said I was making lesson plans. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that. I don't know, because what I've learned so far, the teachers just be making shit up. So I just like make some shit up. That's what I told my son. I went to go pick some stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, you can just pick stuff out of the book, and then you make your plan and follow it." And I was like, "There's no more guidance to this situation." Like, okay. And I was looking at my son. I was like, "Dude, I'm starting to feel like teachers just be making shit up."
Yes,
and he was
are.
Like, you just learned something. I was like, what? He said, I could have told you that. You just got out of high school and you're already telling me. I was like, wow, you smarter than me. I tell him all the time.
It's true, though. I'm telling you, they do just make shit up. Like, as you're saying it, I'm like, it sounds like a wonderful job. I think I want to do that. That would be great.
Sure.
Why not? My question for you is, are you going to start the podcast? Because I think you should.
I don't really know what I'm doing. You have to buy things. Oh, I'm very cheap.
You've already got it here. Zoom meeting. That's all you need. That's all you need. And then
to
and
talk to
then
people.
that's
I
all you
tried to
need.
do it in the pandemic thing.
Mhm.
I didn't really know what to talk about because people always like, you should have a YouTube channel. I'd watch it. And I was like, what the fuck would I be doing? They're like, whatever. And I'm like, no, this feels very invasive. I'm
know
very
what?
private. I was like, I spent most of my high school years thinking about how I wanted to be famous, but trying to come up with a fake name. I needed a stage name. I had so many stage names because I don't want people to know who I am, but I want people to know who I am. It's very weird. I want to be famous, but I don't want people to know me.
Jen PK is a stage name, correct?
It is, but it's my name.
Okay.
It's just my initials.
Okay. I wasn't sure because you had something else in parentheses on the Facebook. I can't remember what it was. But...
Eliora, that's my Jewish name.
Okay.
I converted to Judaism like
we gotta talk about that real quick. What made you convert to Judaism?
You know, I don't know. Like, I grew up Christian, grew up in a Baptist church. My mom's super Christian. She's fantastic. And my stepdad is a pastor. That didn't really have anything to do with my upbringing. He became my stepdad and I was an adult. So that didn't really have anything to do with my upbringing. So a lot of people think PK is preacher's kid. And I guess technically you could say that if you want to. But my daddy is not a preacher. He's not a preacher. He's a fantastic dude. He's not a preacher. But I just never, I don't know, I couldn't connect with it. And I was just kind of looking for a sense of, I don't know, community, a sense of being closer to God. Like I was just trying to figure that out. I think everybody goes through a point where they're just trying to figure out, like, what is spirituality to me? Like, what is this? Like, I fall asleep in church and I don't want to do church things. And sometimes Christians are weird. And what do I want to do? And the thing I like about Judaism is that you can just like ask questions, like they prefer it. Like that's what you do. Like when I went to conversion classes, I was expecting more of a structure, like Charlotte on Sex and the City. Like I thought it was gonna be like that. She had books and she was doing this. And that's what it was. He would bring up topics and we sit there and talk about them. Like that was that was most of my class, you know. And it was just, I think, showing that you were devoted to the faith and even trying to understand the faith that gets you in the door, because Jewish people don't proselytize like a lot of other religions do. They're not out looking for people to be Jewish.
Right.
And they try to make it harder is what they say, but it wasn't really hard. But some people say they make like that you ask 3 times and they say no 3 times, and if you keep coming back and they go, but I mean that wasn't my experience. But they don't, you know, come up to me, hey, you want to be Jewish? Hey, have you accepted Jewish today in your faith? You know, like they don't have you accepted God today? Like they don't do any of that, you know. And there's nobody knocking on your door, dropping off pamphlets, riding around on bicycles and stuff. So it was a conscious choice that I made, you know, and I was super into it. My friends will tell you, like I was super duper. But I'm kind of like, one of my friends told me, like, now I'm a real Jew because I don't go to synagogue every day. And maybe I'll do the high holidays and just kind of like back off of it. And I'm just I'm not super religious, as it were, only because I don't like to attach myself. It's hard to attach yourself to religion because people don't really understand the religion that they belong to. Like I know a lot of Christian people and I've read a lot of Christian things, and I'm just like, you don't really understand your religion.
Right.
So shut up. So it's like I feel like I need to understand more of whatever I'm doing to get it. And it's just, I don't know, sometimes it's just easier. I was like, I don't know what, because nobody knows, you know. I was like, I like a little bit of a lot of different stuff. I like the thought of coming back, you know, as a butterfly. Sounds exciting to me. That might be awesome. I don't know. Like my son had a theory that like you know how they say you see the white light when you die, that's really you being born into a different body, because you're just like coming out of that dark tunnel and there's like the light, like the sun or wherever you're being born at the time. Yeah. And I was like, what if that's it? We don't know, because, you know, you don't take your consciousness necessarily with you, or maybe you do. I don't really know. Maybe I'm not smart enough to know that I have my consciousness, you know, and you just keep getting, you know, because there's that, I think it's Hinduism, where you just reborn over and over again until you get it right.
Reincarnation, yeah.
And I was like, maybe I didn't get it right. So I was like, I don't know. Like, you know, so, but I do generally believe that there's a higher power, that there's God and all that good stuff. So, I don't know, I guess if I was to go, I do some Jewish things. I say Shana Tova, you know, it's a new year. I like the idea of having another new year. Genesis was always my favorite book in the Bible. My stepdad said it's because I'm a fan of new beginnings. I'm like, I like new beginnings, but I also get frustrated because I'm always feel like I'm starting over. I'm just like, when does it end? what's the last chapter of this damn book?
Well, that seems like it's kind of your journey, though, is starting new stuff. And you're an explorer. It sounds like you're ready. You're 3.5 years at a job. You're taking time off of comedy and coming back. The idea of the reincarnation, it sounds like you're always reinventing and working on something new. So that's a good thing, That
I like
means...
your framing of my disorder.
I'm just saying, I think it's the way to go. You're experiencing stuff and you're exploring. Like you said, you want to explore the world. There's just a lot you want to do. Just sounds to me like you might have a little bit of ADHD is all.
I probably do, because my son is thinking, that's what my son said. He's like, I think you have ADHD. He's like, you know how like you can't ever start a paper till like the midnight, the day it's due. And I was like, that's so true.
Yeah.
Like my mind doesn't work till nighttime. Like I'm just like, I'm sleepy. But also I've had all day to do this. Like every 4 weeks I have a paper due, and every 4 weeks is Sunday night. I'm writing, and there'll be some dope papers. I'll be getting A's, like it'd be great. But I'm stuffing it into 3 hours when I had like 4 weeks. And I always say I'm gonna do it different. I'm always like, no, I'm gonna do it right. And I'll go and I'll make the title page and shit.
And you get it done.
That's about it.
I do want to ask one more thing. This will be my last thing. What is your advice to new comedians such as myself who are starting to do stand-up or getting into open mics? What would you say to do? What's the most important thing?
Well, I think you're doing a far better job than I am, first of all.
I don't think so.
But yeah, you already work at a comedy club. That's the thing people say to do. There's no way I'm driving to Addison on purpose. Any of the other ones. I would just say to like figure out what your own thing is and just go with it, because we're all trying to fit this like weird mold, and it's just like find out what your thing is and then just commit to that thing. And when that thing doesn't work for you, just move on to the other thing. Just be yourself and have fun. Like I just like make yourself laugh. That's what I try to do when I go on stage most of the time. I like the other people laughs, of course, but I also want to make myself laugh, because those are my favorite comedians when I see them break down and they just like start giggling at themselves. And I'm just like, sometimes that's why I laugh. Like I may not even been listening to you, and then you laugh, and now I'm laughing because I'm a goofy ass person.
Yeah.
It's like Nick Guerra, who was here, and now he comes back sometimes, but like he's in California and other places. Because he's like one of my favorite people to watch. Because even if I don't know what he's talking about, he just starts giggling. He's very smart. He's a very intelligent comedian, which I enjoy. But when he just starts giggling at himself, that gets me every time. It doesn't matter what he's talking about. Yeah. I die. And I'm just like, you caught me. And I'm goofy. So I guess just have fun with it. That's a roundabout way of saying it. Have fun with it. Enjoy whatever it is that you're talking about. Just, don't stress so much about getting it perfect, I guess.
Right.
Because we all kind of do that. We kind of stress about getting the words perfect. But I guarantee you, which is just me, that's just really not advice, I guess. Just me. My shit never comes out the same time.
That's what makes it fun.
It's an idea. The idea is there, but the exact wording, I never do. I know people who write it out verbatim and they get it and it's perfect, and that's fantastic. Maybe that is correct, and that is why they are where they are and where I am. But I just like, because if you hate it, if it gets boring and it starts to feel like a job, you're probably not going to want to do it.
No, but if it's fun, and it is fun, it is fun. That was the one thing I was worried about, that it wasn't going to be fun. And I can say after going up 3 times right now, I'm having fun. And I think you're going to have fun. And on Wednesday night, I think it's going to be a blast. So with that said, I appreciate you talking to me. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to BS with me and just talk about all this cool stuff. And
anytime.
And you got to start a podcast. I'm telling you, you've got it.
Okay.
You got it in you.
And then you'll have to be a guest, because I don't even like to ask people to be guests either.
Oh no, that's the fun part. That's the
like, you don't want to talk to me.
Yeah. Well, whenever you asked, you're like, can I think you asked me. I was just like, heck yeah, let's do it. That sounds awesome. You know what I mean? And that's all it is you just got to ask. People will do it, and they'll have a blast, and they'll have a good time. This was awesome. This was so much fun. So I appreciate it. With that said, everything for Jen will be linked in the description. Go to her social media, add her. With that said, thank you so much for listening. Jen, thank you for being here. This was awesome.
And there it is. Thank you again so much for checking out the podcast today. If you enjoyed it, head over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, and iTunes, and give We Are Podcast Network a like. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, you're going to love the other podcasts here on the We Are Podcast Network. We Are Air, where we talk movies, entertainment, whatever the fuck we want to talk about. That's me, that's Jake, and that's Javi. We're breaking down that pop culture, and we're having so much fun. And don't forget to check out We Are Bagu, a video game podcast where we talk Atari to Steam and everything between. That's me and Dr. Ethan Eastwood breaking down all that video game lore and having such a good time. Heroes, Gyros, a Dungeons and Distractions side quest. Me and the boys were playing some D&D. You can start that one from Season 1, Episode 1. It's a blast the whole way through. And finally, our new live video podcast, Slash Horrorcast, where we're going to have a roundtable discussion about our favorite horror movies. That'll be available on Twitch and YouTube, streaming every Monday at 8 p.m. Check the links in the description to find out what movies we'll be watching. Also, check the links in the description for our social media. You can find us at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at /We Are Podcast Network. With that said, thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. Please remember to support local comedy in any way that you can. We'll see you next time.